What do you mean?
I mean, I blew so many opportunities, and I'm the kind of guy that never follows through on anything. I just don't follow through. I always do good for a while, but then I don't know what it is. I give up or something like that, you know. But I can always come back, you know. I can always come back. You know, it's like, you know, I can run through dirt and still come out smelling like a rose. You know, but I'm getting to a point, especially at my age, that, you know, wait a minute, I'm bullshitting myself here. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what? You know, I'm thinking I'm smelling like a rose, but I'm not. I'm living in a freaking tent in the middle of the woods, got nowhere to go. I'm on a low level Social Security disability. You know, can't even afford a room without having to deal with a government program. You know, subsidized housing. You know, but there's nobody to blame but me. You know what I mean? Because that's what I did. But that was based on my attitudes and everything. You know, and growing up the way I grew up, my brother beating me up, everybody in the neighborhood fighting everybody in the neighborhood, everybody in school. My mother and her abusive stuff, and my father being an alcoholic and a drug addict. That's all he did was go to work and then hit the bar afterwards and drag me along with him. I was smoking pot with my father since I was like 13, 14 years old. Every day. You don't do that with. I mean, I look at 13, 14-year-old kids today and says, what? I wouldn't smoke pot with my 14-year-old kid and bring him to bars. But see, it was a different time back then, too, than it is today. The alcohol and the pot smoking was acceptable.
So what makes you do it today still? I mean, what makes you search out that stuff?
I think it's because after I ended up to where I ended up, like, okay, you know, the broken relationship with my mother, the broken relationship with my father, you know, and then hanging out in the street with the other street kids, you know, and we all had attitudes, you know. Then it was about being tough, you know. And I think I built this false kind of reputation, you know. And then all of a sudden, when you're young, you have to stick with that, you know. But deep down inside, you know better. You know, it's like an inner battle.
So how do you feel about the past 2 weeks? Like how you lived life the past 2 weeks? How do you feel about it right now? Like being back at your camp?
Oh no, I mean, the same way I felt about it before I even came up in these woods, you know. And I don't want to be living like that. I mean, I'd rather live like this than not like that. You know? Definitely. No, that life ain't for me. So many people out there are caught up and stuck on that, you know. But I know that if I stay sober and drug free, I know it'll only be a matter of time before, you know, I get a little more settled, you know. But you know, the other thing is, you can't survive in this world without financial stability. You know, you need money to live in this society. But when I don't drink and I don't drug, I eat a lot more. I pile up. You know, I buy new clothes. You know, I spend money on stuff that I really don't, and I still end up broke. And I think that might be another one of the problems. You know, I still feel like, okay, whichever way you know, I'm still not getting ahead anywhere. You know, so it's like then I'll tell myself, well, why should I be doing this when, you know, I could just be still doing that? It's like when you're in prison, you only get a certain amount of money to spend in commissary, right? And it's got to last you. Whatever commissary you buy has to last you 2 weeks till you go to the next commissary. It's every 2 weeks, right? Now, if you smoke and drink coffee and and you want to do that for 2 weeks, then all you can do when you go to commissary is buy cigarettes and coffee, right? But if you want to eat, you know what I'm saying? You can't do both because you can't afford it. So either you eat and you don't smoke or drink coffee, and or you smoke or drink coffee and you don't eat.
How about coffee and eating and no cigarettes?
Well, you know, I mean, but I'm just saying as
Yeah.
the example, you know what I mean? But that's the same thing as saying, okay, how about you know, the coffee and eating and no booze and drinking and running around out here like that, you know?
Did you have a good time though at all the past 2 weeks doing that?
Not really.
You felt miserable as you were hanging out with those guys?
Nah, well, I mean, it felt good to see. I haven't been out here in a couple of years, so it kind of felt good to, you know, hang out with those guys for a little while, because as much as I don't like doing what they're doing, I still have a, I still care about them. You know, even though they're caught up. You know?
Where'd you sleep when you were there? I always wondered.
Well, I slept under the pavilion.
Oh, okay.
Most nights I slept right there under the pavilion.
You didn't have a
Every
sleeping,
night you go in there, you're gonna see, you know, 5, 6 to 10 people.
no sleeping bag, just on the hard
Yeah,
pavement?
no, sleeping bag and blankets and stuff.
Oh, you had a sleeping bag?
Keep them stored in the,
Oh.
they have a spot where they store the, you know, the blankets and stuff. Few of the guys out there have tents. There's a few tents scattered through those Bell Park there.
This sounds like a jet airplane. How about eating? Did you eat all right? Did you get food?
I didn't eat as good as I probably should, but I did eat.
Is there still the Salvation Army still have the meals?
They had takeout.
Really?
Right, they had the yeah, you could go to the door and then they'll give you a styrofoam tray or something, or
Really?
a bag full of food. And you got
Takeout.
you got street soldiers that church across from the Stewarts on that terrace. Every Sunday they give you bags and bags and stuff. So
Hmm.
yeah.
That's good.
See, this is the way I look at it too. If I'm drinking or whatnot, I subject myself to have to go there. You know, but if I don't drink, okay, I'm still eating, but I can still barely afford, you know, to live. But at least I don't have to be over there and deal with those guys. Been around them too long. I'm gonna avoid them spots.
It's a bad influence that drags people down.
Yeah.
You know, it gets you tired. It gets you not. You don't have any goals anymore. You get your subconscious mind that gets used to it and putting up with it, and then you don't even know who you are anymore, right? I think you find yourself better being in nature. You can think, and you can say, well, a little exercise here, a little exercise there. You start coming back to who you are again.
Right.
You know. That's why getting into fitness and being in nature. I think that's real living.
I've made some mistakes out here, but I'm not giving up. I'm learning. You know, like the first mistake I made when I was up there was most like probably getting on Facebook and letting people know. You know what I mean? And then when other people started connecting with me, I invited a couple over. I said, yeah, come on over, we can hang out, because I was still drinking. You know, but my intention was to eventually stop all that. And then when one person finds out, then someone else is saying, oh yeah, okay, Randy. I probably should have just kept my mouth shut and not told anybody anything, except for my real friends, the ones that I know that are going to be there, you know. But you know, I mean, I could be much further progressed from where I am right now if I didn't, you know, like I invited my two buddies buddy's over here, you know, because our other friend died,
Yeah.
and so he had to come out from where he was staying with his sister. He really didn't have a place to stay. I said, well, you can stay here, you know. It was only going to be a few days or whatever, but it turned out to be 12 days. So that put me off a while because that's all they want to do is drink and smoke pot, you know. And then the other mistake I made was continuing to smoke pot when I stopped drinking. You know? Because it still kept my head kind of like, you know, not thinking right. You know? But you tell yourself anything, you tell, I'll be alright. Yeah, nah, you alright. You know where you're going. You know what you're doing.
So what do you think? What would your ideal life be if you could do it?
I do. I don't know. I have no idea.
Would you? What was more important to you, to have money or to be healthy and fit, or to have a lot of friends?
I'd rather have, and I don't need a lot of money, enough money to get by. I'd be happy with and fit over a lot of friends.
Well, you know you could get fit if you put you. That's one thing you could do.
Oh, yeah.
And if you get fit, you can find little ways. If you feel better, you can find little ways to make a little bit of extra money here and there. You know.
If I get fit, I can go back to work. I'm on disability, but I could still do something.
Yeah, under the table, right?
Under the table, or I could work up to 25 hours a week and continue to keep my disability. If I go full time, I can go full time and keep my disability for 9 months.